Elements of a story. Every good story has 5 basic but important elements: theme, characters, setting, conflict, and plot. In this lesson, we will take a look at each of these elements. Theme. The theme of a story is the central idea behind it, or the lesson that the writer wants to share with the reader. For example, the triumph of good over evil is a common theme. Characters. Characters refer to individuals that the story talks about. They are the ones that enact the events in the story, so a story can't be told without characters. Readers fall in love with a story because they become attached to the characters. Thus, the writer must describe the character's physical appearance and personality traits well enough to let the reader visualize them. A story often has a number of characters. Each of them has a role to play and serves a certain purpose in the story. Characters that are vital to the story are called central characters. The story revolves around them. The main character or hero of the story is called the protagonist. The villain, or the character that opposes the protagonist, is called the antagonist. Setting. The setting refers to the place and time in which the story happens. Having a good setting is necessary to create the desired atmosphere for the story. The setting should not just indicate the location, but also describe the environment in which the events happen. Enough details should be provided to let the reader imagine each scene and be connected to the story. Conflict. A good story always contains a conflict. A conflict is a struggle between two opposing forces, usually the hero and the villain of the story. The conflict is an important element of a story because it is what drives the actions of the characters. If a story has no conflict, then the characters would have no reason to act and the story wouldn't mean much. A conflict may be internal or external. It is internal if it only affects a single character. A character's emotional problem or fear of something is an example of internal conflict. A conflict is external if it is a struggle between a character and an outside force, or between two opposing sides. It may just be between two characters, or it may involve groups of characters. An external conflict may also involve natural calamities, supernatural beings such as ghosts, or abstract forces such as the evils of society. Plot. The plot of a story is the way the story itself unfolds. It consists of the main events and turning points of the story from start to finish. Without a plot, there is no story. The plot is sometimes confused with the theme. Remember that the theme is just the main idea of the story while the plot is the storyline itself. The plot of a story has 5 phases or stages. The beginning. The rising action. The climax. The falling action. The ending. Let's take a look at each of these stages. Beginning. The first stage of a plot is the beginning or the exposition. The setting and characters of the story are introduced here. Rising action. After the exposition, the plot must be pushed into forward motion. This is achieved by the next stage of the plot, the rising action. It is during this stage the conflict is revealed. This conflict brings about one or more problems that further move the story forward. The tension among the characters builds up during this stage. Climax. The third stage of the plot is the climax. This is the turning point of the story. The point of highest tension and drama happens during the climax. It is therefore the most emotional part of the story. It's also the part that involves the most danger and action. Falling action. The climax is followed by the fourth stage of the plot, the falling action. This is where the story starts to wind down. The falling action includes events that solve the surrounding problems, tie the loose ends, and lead to the resolution of the conflict. Ending. The last stage of the plot is the ending, denouement, or resolution. Here, the conflict is completely resolved and concluded, the story is wrapped up, and the reader is given closure.
Subscribe to KPluz now. Contact us at 02-7759-4144 and 091781277757. Thank you for watching.